We're going to talk a little bit about staying involved in the sport, but just to give people a little bit of a background, tell us a little bit of your journey in water polo, from playing as an athlete to now staying involved, coaching, and that sort of thing.
So I started water polo when I was 9 years old. I was playing just, local clubs, nothing big. It was just, startup polo. I got interested in polo because my dad had played polo in college for a bit. So I kind of jumped on there, and then that's kind of just where everything took off. I played all the way through high school, played on multiple clubs. It was on SoCal, Orange County Water Polo Club, won a couple JOs, lost a couple JOs. Went on to college, and I ended up playing at UCI and the Naval Academy. So that's
Excellent.
kind of a brief history of my water polo career.
That's quite a bit of water polo, and you've done it on both coasts. And now tell us, what are you doing now? How are you staying engaged in the game today?
So when I was done with water polo, I was asked by actually a friend to come coach, and I was actually kind of one of those players that was like, I don't know if I want to be a coach at the end of it, but I started coaching, and it was just one of those things where I just still love the sport so much. So I stayed involved through coaching at Orange County Water Polo Club, and I was coaching the younger group. So it was just really fun to kind of get in touch with the fun side of polo again after being serious from college and all this stuff. And then that's kind of what led into going to Masters polo right after that, just because, coming back into it after everything, after college and after high school and all those like super serious but fun experiences, it's a lot different to come into it at an older age and just have a good time, kick back some friends, play polo on the weekends.
And are you still playing Masters water polo too?
Yeah, I'm still playing Masters water polo. Honestly, I just started playing polo at a high school with a couple guys, just pick up games after practices, and then it just kind of turned into like, I really want to make a team and start playing Masters polo again, a little more competitively, but still having that fun in it.
You brought up a great point in that you play water polo. A lot of people have at a very competitive level, whether it's high school or college, and then it kind of ends, and people aren't sure, do they still want to do this? We know water polo is tough, right? You can't. It's not a thing you can do halfway, right? You really have to kind of be in it and training. Just tell us about, you mentioned your friend getting you involved. What was that process like to continue to play the game even after you weren't doing it at the collegiate level?
So, after I was done with college, I, kind of everyone takes a little hiatus after that. That's usually a lot of college players take like a year off, and maybe they either get back into Masters or something like that. So I had take my year off. I was still coaching, but I wasn't really playing. One of my guys was like, "We're doing Masters on Wednesdays. You should just jump in. It'll be a fun time, And I jumped in, and after that, I just was like, you know what? I can't just drop the sport altogether. And, having that access as a coach was really helpful. But then also, like, as I started getting back into it, things just started progressing a lot too. Like USA Water Polo started putting on a lot more events for Masters, and it seemed that the sport was actually growing again. So that was kind of fun to be a part of that, like, movement in a sense. So
when you were back playing Masters after having taken that time off, what were some of the things that you realized, like, oh, this is why I love this. Like, this is why it's fun.
I think to be kind of I guess contradictory of myself, because I'm a coach now, not having a coach was kind of fun. A bunch of guys that we all know how to play polo, whether it be we all played in club, high school, or college, we all knew how to play. So we're just playing for fun, and we all got the game. So we didn't have some heavy duty coach on our back making us swim every morning, but at the same point, it was still fun to be competitive and have a good time with it.
And then to that end, as you said, ironically, you're also coaching. So what's the transition been like to being the guy that's giving the instructions?
Personally, like, I've always been a kind of smart water polo player. I always prided myself on IQ. So kind of transitioning for me was a little different, because it's like I got to take myself out of it. But at the same point, it was kind of easy because I love that IQ side where let's set up, let's talk about it, let's draw on the board. So for me, it was really fun to switch into a role where I get to direct a little bit more. And, like, at the same point, it's a little grinding because you're like, man, if I was in the water, I could do this. But at the same point, that's what makes it rewarding when your kids learn how to do something from you teaching them.
You're in that age range that is so vital for water polo. If you look at the numbers and you have a bunch of people playing high school and then college, and then it goes off of a cliff in kind of that mid-20s, and then we try and get people to get back into it in Masters water polo, to be a ref, to be a coach. what do you tell people that are on the fence? They're thinking about maybe getting back into it. What's your pitch to say, come back to the sport that you love?
My thing is like, whenever I call up old buddies, there's always old college friends or old club friends. They're like, I've been out for a year. I just finished my call. I don't want to play anymore. Like, I'm just done. And like, they're all just got that same burnout. And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is completely different. Like, you've been going from this super high level, and like, this is high level polo, but it's a little different direction because you're playing the game with all your friends. And at the end of the day, like, if you lose a game, it stinks still, but it's still fun. Like, the part is like, you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for a college or a high school or a club. Like, this is purely on, like, I want to play polo with my friends, and that's what matters.
Yeah, it seems like this experience, not that it wasn't fun in high school and college,
Yeah,
it's been more fun because it's a little bit more freewheeling.
yeah. I guess like I guess the way I'm talking about it is kind of putting it down a little bit. I'm not trying to do that. Like, it's a completely different mindset. When you're in college and you're in high school, it's go, like, this is my sport. Like, you're taking every single opportunity to become the best player you can be. But when you're at a master's level, you're kind of there. Like, you're not really going to go any higher. And if you do, like, you never know. Like, you could maybe get picked up again because, like, you're like, you know what, I can still play. But I think the main point for a lot of master's players is, like, I've done all the training and now I get to enjoy it.
You're in the position of someone that has come back to water polo as a coach, as a player. You see firsthand how important it is for people like yourself to kind of stay involved in the game. I'm sure you're been in that position where you're looking for someone to help you coach or someone to help you referee. Whether they're in your area, SoCal, elsewhere, why is it so important that people stay involved in the game? Why is it essential to the growth of water polo?
Well, I think, as many people might realize, this sport is not a huge community. We're not like a basketball or a football kind of community where there's just numerous people that are just invested in the sport, even if they haven't played it. And like, the big thing for us is, like, because we're that kind of tight knit community, it is important to, like, kind of give back in a sense. And like, when you're in that position, it's kind of rewarding because you, like, for example, I've been playing water polo for years. I look at the national team and I've played against some of those guys. And like, that's just the small world we live in. And like, to be a part of that is just rewarding in its own sense.
Talking with Christian Macias here, is involved in club water polo, SoCal, OCWPC, coaching masters now, playing masters. So you're in it now. You look at masters, right? We go all the way up to 65 plus. Now that you're in this and kind of this second part of your life, do you envision yourself being one of those guys that's going to be out there for a long time?
I hope so. I mean, whether it be playing or even just coaching at a master's level at the end, like, I love this sport, and I don't think I could picture a day where I'm not in it.
Yeah, and some good comments coming in here reminding us you're also played at the Naval Academy, UC Irvine, Power Aquatics Masters. So you have had your experience in Masters water polo. Appreciate you taking some time here. Before we let you go, just any final thoughts? You've shared some good stuff on why people should be involved, but just any last words on those that are thinking about it and why it's been so beneficial to your life?
I think, like, everyone that kind of has taken a break, it just kind of, my biggest advice to, like, maybe getting back into the sport is just take that one day, jump in the pool, and you have an opportunity. Maybe it's just shooting, maybe it's even just swimming, but like, doing that one step might remind you why you love the sport in the first place.
And there's so many people, you're right. You made me think of one more question here because I'm seeing outside and thinking, well, maybe we're back in business, right? But there's so many places that are still waiting to get back into the pool. As you, like many, have had this time away from the water, I imagine it's reminded you again how much you love water polo.
Yeah, it's definitely been a miss. I don't like running, and I can't imagine doing any more land workouts after this quarantine.
Water polo players everywhere feel your pain. They say it time and again. We're not land animals. We're better in the pool. Christian, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Happy on.